So War Thunder is overhauling the way that they do events within the game. So crafting events are basically no more. You're not going to have to do them anymore because they're changing the way that they do events within War Thunder. So basically what they're doing is that they're adding this new kind of event that they have planned out, where it's just one vehicle at a time and you're just having to get score whenever it comes to researching the vehicle out. So every about like 12 to 18 days after the 25th of this month, you will have some sort of event going on. So it's going to start out with tanks first, and it's going to go to aircraft, and then finally it's going to go to naval. And I'm assuming after it goes to naval, it'll repeat back to tanks, and then you'll have some throughout the whole year. So you may be asking, Dawg, how do you actually do this? So every 2 days, just like a normal score event, you'll have to get something like 45,000 score. Now, it can go down depending on if it's a low tier or a high tier vehicle, I'm assuming, within the score. So it could be like 35,000 if it's like a mid tier vehicle. It could be like 20,000 if it's like a very low tier, like rank 1 or something like that. But I'm assuming it's probably going to be around about 35 to 40,000 whenever it comes to the end of the day of things. So just like with all the score events, whenever it comes to War Thunder, you'll have your modifiers for your game mode, and you'll also have your modifiers for rank. So it's not really 45,000 score. If you're playing game modes like realistic battles and you're playing like top tier, you'll get a modifier, which means that you have to do less. So they didn't clarify this in the article, but there was a comment from Magazine 2, which says that you will have to play the game mode that the vehicle is from. So if it's a tank, you have to play ground forces. If it's a plane, you have to play air forces, or you have to play ARB or arcade or whatever. And if it's naval, you'll sadly have to play naval. So you can't really just go play what you want to, which is also kind of sad whenever it comes to this sort of event. So overall, that's going to be how this event is done. It's going to be one event vehicle at a time. So you're not going to have to do naval, aircraft, and as well as ground forces all at the same time anymore. You'll just have to focus on one area of the game, which I think honestly is probably a very positive thing. Now, the only negative thing I think about this thing is that there's going to be extreme burnout. And what I mean by this is that there's basically going to be some sort of event going on within War Thunder whenever it comes to every portion of this year, except for 1 month in summer, and then also whenever it comes to the 2 to 3 days that they give you after an event is over. And honestly, I think it's pretty bad, because whenever you view it within that light, you're going to be playing a ton, especially if you want everything special. If you're a collector within the game, it's definitely going to put a toll on you if you want to get everything within this new event system. Now, at the same time, if you're not a person who wants everything, this is going to be really good for you, because you can just go into the War Thunder website, see what the new event vehicle is. If it's something you want, you can start playing. If it's something you don't want, then you can just skip out and go do other things. Now, you're also probably going to be able to sell most of these vehicles within the War Thunder market. I do believe they said that they're going to allow you to sell them. I'm assuming some of them they just won't allow, because, FOMO definitely is a huge thing whenever it comes to these types of events. But I assume that they're going to allow to sell most of them. So especially if you're on PC and you're able to get them, through the market, it's going to be a positive thing. I'm assuming they're not going to be, insane in amount, especially as soon as the event ends. But there's one thing that I do really want to talk about, and that's the fact of that we're changing the event. We're changing the way that they work. But Gaijin is still not changing the way that console players can actually get these events. And what I mean by this is the console players have never had access to the market. They've never had access to be able to get these event vehicles whenever it comes to missing out on them. And it would have been a perfect time to actually, figure out a system to where these people can actually get these vehicles. Now, I understand why there isn't a market on the, consoles, because for one, Sony doesn't want it, and for two, Xbox doesn't want it because they can't control the marketplace. And it's one of those just tough things that's gonna have to happen whenever it comes to console, is that there's just going to be this yin and yang of companies of where I want to control everything. No, now I want to control everything, and it's one of those just weird things. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's one of the huge things that I think should have happened with this event, with this new event system, is they should have addressed the whole console issue of, people not being able to get vehicles after the event is actually done. Now, so finally, after we got over how this event is actually going to work out whenever it comes to War Thunder, what are my thoughts on it? So my thoughts on it is that I really just want to try it. I feel like that I'm in a very burned out attitude whenever it comes to War Thunder, just because we came off the winter event. I've been enjoying playing other games. I've been enjoying doing other things. But at the same time, I understand that, they want people to keep playing War Thunder, because the more people who keep playing the game, the more people who might spend money on it, which means that, they earn more money. So at the end of the day, I think I understand why Gaijin's doing it. Do I agree with it? No. I believe that's very healthy for people to actually get a break from War Thunder, get a break from whatever they're doing, and go do other things, experience other things whenever it comes to life. And that's one thing this type of event doesn't let you kind of do. I mean, yes, you can definitely just pay for them, but if you're someone who wants to play the game legitly and be able to get these event vehicles, it's going to be one of those things where it's just like, is it really worth my time to actually do this, especially if the market price of these vehicles are going to be extremely low? I mean, it's going to be one of those things that people are going to min-max to get these things done. You're going to have a lot more people who want to buy this sort of thing to get, the vehicles every time so they can sell it on the market for just premium account maybe, but it's a very hit or miss thing. I believe that's a positive that you're only able to do one at a time, so it doesn't make you overwhelmed where you feel like you have to get everything whenever it comes to an event. But instead of it being a sprint now where you're able to get everything during a certain time period, it's a marathon. And a marathon can be a good thing, and sometimes it can be a bad thing, just depending on, how you're feeling during that time. Another thing that I'd really like to know is that it doesn't really coincide with the battle pass that well. So the way that this event's going to work is that you're going to be able to play every, 2 days, and you're going to have to get like 45,000 score, for example. But it only takes you about a day, technically, if you want to get that 45,000 score. So you don't really need to play the second day of the score event because, well, for one, you already got it done, and it means that you're going to miss out on a battle pass, which is going to be kind of sad whenever it comes to actually doing your dailies and as well as specials. So at least the way that I look at it is that change is an interesting thing. It can be bad, it can be good, it can be neutral, and I feel like right now that a lot of people are just going to be hating on it because it's changed. It's a new thing, it's new, it's kind of, not hip to like new things, I don't guess, but at the same time, I really just want to test it, and I feel like giving them the benefit of the doubt for this very first season or this very first event vehicle will be a decent thing to do. We'll just see how we feel after we start playing it, see how we feel after, the first, quote unquote season is done for this event, and then kind of give the opinions of that, see how you feel after it. And I feel like it's going to be one of those things that's just going to be a hit or miss thing for a lot of people. Another thing I would like to note though, is that even though they're going to be going out through the whole entire year, you're going to get a month off in, I believe, probably June or July. The winter event seems like it's going to be staying. So you're going to have 3 event vehicles during the winter. So that means you're going to be coming off of, your last event into a 3-star winter event. So it's definitely going to be an interesting time with War Thunder. It feels very weird knowing that you're not going to have to do a crafting event this year. It's going to be feeling very weird. There's not going to be a summer event this year. And overall, gaming in general and just the tech industry and as well as just entertainment in general is just in a weird position. Because if you've not noticed within the last couple of months, there's a lot of companies which are laying off employees. Riot just recently did one. You had Amazon with Twitch. They laid off a ton of people, which I would say is a very bad thing. And it kind of feels the same way with Gaijin. Now, I'm not going to be the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist person, but it's a lot less effort to do this way than it is to do a crafting event or do different sort of events whenever it comes to War Thunder. And maybe you don't have to pay someone to actually make up these crafting events and make these models or make these, systems and do all the math to know how much, stuff needs to cost, all that sort of thing. So it definitely feels like that it's something that's a little bit weaker compared to, other things whenever it comes to that. But at the same time, once again, I just want to try it. And if it's a bad thing, I'll definitely be making a video whenever it comes to that. Whenever it comes to the end of the first season, I'll give my kind of feedback on it. And maybe Gaijin can give us some stuff to help out the console players because they definitely need some support whenever it comes to getting old event vehicles, because the only way that they can really do it now is open loot boxes, which to me is a very negative thing. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And this is the last video that you'll be seeing on the 2080. I got a 4070 Super, which is coming in, and it's all thanks to you guys whenever it comes to supporting the channel as well as watching the videos. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video.